Two. Okay, it is now officially the kickoff of the 97th episode of Where's Wayne's World and Kelly. The timing has just been, and I'm sure it's going to happen to me too, but where, poor Wayne, he's like, it's my name first, but he's been traveling and traveling and traveling for that business he's got, or multiple business he's got. And things have been going absolutely fantastic with the Terminator. So we're pretty excited about that. But as a crew, we've got our permanent guest host, which is Nichelle Hastings, who I didn't even have the heart. She was like in Colorado yesterday or something. Now she's in Tampa. I wasn't even going to ask her if she could, because she would have figured out a way to be on the show. But I'm like, let's give her a break. But so today, we're now introducing the fourth member of the Wayne's World and Kelly team, which is the one, the only Rick Worth from BuildingLink. And I want to talk about BuildingLink, then we also want to talk about Rick. But first of all, welcome to the team and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kelly. It's an honor. Thank you very much for offering and welcoming into the crew. I'm very excited about it.
Well, it's something we've been talking about forever, and I tell you get so darn busy in life. And I think they always say if you want to get something done, reach out to a busy person. And you're one of the busiest guys in this show business that we're in. And right. You and BuildingLink, and those two words are synonymous, hopefully, like Kelly and LGC and Wayne and ABC. BuildingLink is such a valuable product, and we have never been an infomercial, but we do talk about the industry and the pluses of it. And BuildingLink, I became familiar with when I was in the DC market, and then I came down here, and I remember the first time I met you, I'm like, oh great, I know his company, and y'all had a great rep up in DC. So yeah. It's but building, technology's constantly changing. And y'all stay in the forefront to be an asset to the high-rise condominium world for communication, which is such a big deal. So, take an hour, introduce yourself, talk a little bit about BuildingLink.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Kelly. It's been a fantastic company to work with. Been with them for almost 15 years now. We've been in operation since 1999, and like you said, the name speaks for itself, and keeping up with the technology is, part of our goal. That's one of our main goals. It's, the groundbreaking stuff, the new enhancements, the new features to help out the properties that are using us, and continuing to build on that product, and, maintaining a presence and keeping our clients happy is really our number one goal. We've got a great crew of dedicated staff that work together, and it's more like a family because most of those folks have been here 10 plus years. Pam, who has been with the company for 15 years as well. She's the leader of our customer excellence team, or customer success team, and it's just the broad base of knowledge that I have to rely on, and the care that goes into the product, and building the new systems, which is part of our blessing and headache at the same time, because we're renovating the whole thing. It's a renaissance, but you've got to deal with some bumps in the road. And believe me, when you have 8 different squads programming in different parts of the world or in New York, it's trying to get everyone on the same page and homogenize it is sometimes a little bit tricky, but once it's done and once we're nearing completion, it's been quite the uphill battle, but it's looking, we're excited about it, and we've been pushing for it. So yeah,
nice. And you're never done because technology is always changing. But so I'm up in Orlando. Not Orlando, in Ormond Beach, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and talking to a new potential client, and they just got in with BuildingLink, and so he was real happy with my response to him telling me that, I said, well, at least you're doing something right. So it's so important because it's almost like y'all are like the Apple of condo buildings because you got to keep it really simple with very sophisticated technology. And
Right.
y'all pull it off. Apple, I call it, cell phones for dummies, which I fit. I'm talking about me. And the same thing with building, like you have a very sophisticated system, but you have to have the users of, you got your 20 somethings or probably the teenagers that live in some of these places completely understand how to work it, but you also have to let the more senior people like me and older also know how to use this system with ease and
Yeah.
also be very robust for the property management company and, et cetera, et cetera. There's just the list goes on. So it's pretty cool that, and y'all, I tell you what, I don't, we won't even discuss who your competition is, but I don't know if there is one. Maybe
Well,
stupidity, maybe the people that don't have your product yet.
right, exactly. Hey,
Yeah,
it's been it's a constant change, like you said, and it's amazing to see how it's evolved, the acceptance level. I was doing door-to-door sales when I first started with BuildingLink. Literally going to properties up and down Collins, up and down A1A, Fort Lauderdale, Boca, Miami, South Miami, wherever I'm going. I was knocking on doors, sweating through, dress shirts, handing out literature and saying, in a lot of cases, you get to those places where it's like, what do we need computers for? And in that day and age, 15 years ago,
right,
or we're fine with Gmail or Hotmail. Okay, that's fine. But you're also looking for the heart of your community. The engine that runs your community is the software, is the operation software. So what's the value now? And people have seen that the value is tantamount. It's right there. And if you're
right,
counting your product, what's the value there? Are you wanting something that's dime a dozen, or do you want something that's going to accomplish everything you need under one roof, except for accounting? But we integrate with a ton of accounting systems, so that's fine. But you want your daily operations running smoothly, this is where it's at. And it was always baffling to me, but there was a turnover, a natural turnover or a learning curve where it was like, okay, I've been using a Macintosh or an Apple IIe since the 70s. And
right,
why are we using this in our business? Condos and HOAs, associations, they're a business. At the end of the day, you're looking at an INC. So if you're running a business, why is it not computerized? If
right.
it's form duplicate, if it was this and that, or if it was, I'll put a post-it note on some mailbox to let them know that my package has arrived, or maybe they'll see my, my snail mail letting them know that my toilet's running. That's not effective and no way to operate a business. So you're still in business no matter whether you're a volunteer for your association or not, because board members are volunteers. Bless them for taking on that, insurmountable role. It's crazy, but yeah.
Yeah. So y'all are just a perfect fit. I know with owners representation for large capital improvements like LGC does, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, even 5 years ago, people were more apprehensive about why do I need an owner's rep? Now they reach out to us before I get to find them knocking on their door, which is fantastic because, once you kind of improve to the community that, you can be an asset, they're a little bit more welcoming. I know the reception for you is a lot different than it was when you started in the business years ago. Now it's like, they call you up and go, hey, so and so from another property told me that they use you guys, and we need to talk. It's like I love those calls. I get them every week, and I know you get them, and it's like, isn't it great? Because before, although I do enjoy what we call cold calling. And people like going, why are you cold calling? It's like every once in a while I do it just because it's fun. I see a building, I think they need us. Let's go see it.
I had some great experiences, some really shitty experiences, where the doors literally into my face. We don't know you, don't come back. We'll
Right,
call
right,
you,
right.
but some of them I still talk to this very day, or they're, I consider them friends,
Right.
and it's amazing who I met just walking in the door, and they had a minute and we chatted, and sometimes even ended up going to lunch or something, and then from there on it's like that. So I had to jump in feet first. I had no idea about this industry. And I was like, okay, what do I do? I went from selling timeshare in a 90-minute presentation. And if you want a sale, knockdown, drag out sales training where you will get every single training, every single sales key to unlock a sale, go do
Right.
time for a minute, and they will train you how to do the soft close, the hard close, whatever close you need, tackling objections on the fly, because you have to sell anywhere from a $15,000 to a $30,000 package to someone you don't know in about 90 minutes.
Right.
So for 5 years, I was doing that. And then I got a call from my buddy that I was went to college with, and he said, we're looking for a sales guy in Florida. What do you know about condos and apartments? I said, I don't know anything, but I know how to sell, and I'll sell whatever. So hook me up.
Right.
3
Right.
weeks later, their owner called me and BuildingLink, and it was off the races.
No, it's a lot easier selling something that people want and need, even if they don't know it yet.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
timeshares, that's I don't know. We'll see.
That's a luxury product, but I mean, if you go on
Yeah.
vacation, more than 4 times a year, it can pay for itself. It is a
Yeah.
value. There is a value there.
Right. In Florida, did it really, like you talk about 90 minutes. There were, it's probably the most properly governed industry in Florida versus other states that do timeshares or other parts of the world.
Well, much like new industries though, or industries that are making a lot of money, sometimes they don't want to touch those and put a bunch of rules on it. But it was a wild west when like David Siegel started Westgate and Fairfield
Right.
Resorts. They were just masses of asses. Close whatever you can, get them out the door, get ink on paper, however you need to do it, sell it, and and it doesn't matter. And there were people that would tell them that literally, oh, the Westgate Resort, there's a tunnel from SeaWorld that Shamu will come out through the tunnel into the lake behind the resort. They told people that. This is like literally in people's presentation. Shamu's not coming over there. That's a freshwater lake. It was just like crazy what they would tell them.
Is David Siegel the one who he and his wife built some massive house?
Yeah, that's the Versailles. Yep,
Versailles,
Versailles.
yeah.
Right, and that's near Bay Hill here in Orlando.
That's a
and because you're a golfer, so where Bay Hill is. It's right around there. Isleworth. Yeah, it's huge. It's ridiculous.
Very unique couple.
Unique is one way to put it. Absolutely.
Right.
And I met him once, and he's a mover and a shaker for sure. Because I worked for Westgate for a minute too, but most of my time was Wyndham and Hilton Grand Vacations.
Right.
So we want to sell top tier. Because if you're buying timeshare, you want to buy a quality product and go to a quality resort. Where Westgate you could trade in for a quality inn. No thanks.
Yeah, right. Red roof. I love it.
Yeah. No thanks.
Oh, no hate mail, people. But so it all started in a little town. We have a connection. You are from Pittsburgh, and my mother was born and raised in Pittsburgh. So I think we probably talked about it the first time. We've never talked about it again. So you were born and raised in Pittsburgh?
Well, born in Milwaukee. So we moved out to Pittsburgh when I was 7. So luckily the Wisconsin accent didn't stick. I have a little bit left there, and I got the Pittsburghese, thank goodness, because that's an alien language. I mean, I remember we moved there. My mom was taking us shopping, and some guy started talking. Oh, you're from Wisconsin, and he said something in Pittsburghese like South Side and downtown. Do you drink Iron City beer? And my mom's like, what language is this? And what are you saying?
Right.
It took a while to catch on, that was that. And I can peg it. When I hear someone talking and I hear the Pittsburgh accent, I walk up to them and go Steelers or whatever.
That's right.
Because it's like, you can't mistake it. I was at some place in West Palm a couple years ago, and I was out there having a drink, and I was out with clients, and I hear this guy talking. I go, what part of Pittsburgh are you from? Literally right across the river from where I grew up.
Right. Now, when you were a kid, did you used to play over at the creek?
Oh, of course, in the creek. Yeah, of course. I read up the house, ran the sweeper. Oh, yeah.
It was so funny because my mom was kind of, country club polished, but then she would say certain things like crick.
Mm.
And it's like, what?
What part of Pittsburgh do you know?
Oh, yeah. She was from Wilmerding, which was a very, you heard my grandfather worked at Westinghouse Air Brake. They didn't even buy their first place, I think, till my mom was like maybe in high school. And they lived in an apartment. But the stories of my mom was born in 1920. So when you moved to Pittsburgh at your age at 7, she was about to experience the great crash and the depression. And she used to say, we were poor, but we didn't know it. Her mother sewed for her and the cousins and the neighbors. And my grandfather was this little guy, 5'7". I got my height from my dad's side. Not like your height, but I got, height.
Hey, you're still pretty tall.
But so my grandfather might have been 5'7", but he was witty as hell and hard worker and always provided. He'd come home and give his check to my grandmother, and she paid all the bills, and she gave him a little bit for him to drink. And I broke the Irish curse in our family, but my grandparents both came from Ballybunion, Ireland. So,
okay.
And they settled in Pittsburgh.
Those are industry folks, those are hardworking people. So they moved to the right town. That Pittsburgh was, Irish and, Italian. So it was, and a lot of
Polish
and a lot of the Eastern Europeans. Yeah. Polish, Slavs, yeah.
Well, they had, my mother was Catholic, and they had different Catholic churches for the country you were from. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
And every, and it was cool. I mean, my mother had the greatest stories, and I wish I would have recorded all of them. Fortunately, my daughter knows a lot of them, and she's a writer, so hopefully she'll write more about her mom as she gets along in her career. But oh my God, her stories were just so great. I mean, talk about, and my mom hung out with hoodlums, and and she and her 2 sisters were the pretty Kelly girls. That was my mom's maiden name, Pittsburgh. And so she'd tell my daughter and all of us about all the boys chasing them, and it was just.
So your first name is because of your mom's maiden name?
That's the big secret. I used to love to tell people that my parents wanted a 6th daughter, not a 4th son. So
you're still using that line.
No, it's it's bad dad jokes now. But yeah, right. So my name came from my grandfather wanted one of his grandkids, because he had 3 girls, to change their name. So the story goes, I was supposed to change my name to Brian Kelly when I turned 18. But by the time I turned 18, I was so used to having this girl's name that I wasn't changing it.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of your brand, man. People know you. You can't. Brian Kelly seems too plain.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I met a guy named Kelly before.
Right.
It's just like,
right.
I'm like, oh, I probably know him. We have a club. And
this happened to me maybe a few weeks ago. Hopefully they're not listening, but there was a person on the phone that was getting on a Zoom call that his name was Kelly, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, where is she? He's right here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Why'd I assume? To bail you out, when I hear somebody named Kelly, 100% I assume it's a girl. And the rare times it's a guy, of course, we get a kick out of it. But and he was expecting me to be a girl. So it's just one of those funny things. But it's great to see how people react. Some people, and the fun one, I've got videos of people. So I'll sit there and me with my self filming. When I first moved here, a guy goes, "Oh, when we were talking to you via email and we brought you to this event, we thought you were going to be this little cute little blonde haired, blue eyed, hot little girl, and it's you." So I go, "Dude, will you say that again?" And I'm videotaping it. I think I put it on LinkedIn, but it's just funny, And I want, I don't want anybody to ever feel uncomfortable about it, but it's, but it's just, it's life's too short. And that's one thing your business is very technical, but you bring so much fun to everything you do. And life's too short not to laugh and have a good time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just like you said, the system is, complex, but it's built to be simple for people to be able to use it without an IT degree. or computer science degree. Just get in there, turn it on, do your daily routine, make it easy. And I like to make it simple too. It
Right.
shouldn't be a 4-hour demo with, how does how's your server farm look and what's our encryption like? We're up
Right.
to snuff, man. Rich
Right.
Carlton uses this. How much more do you want?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good enough for the Ritz. It's good enough for me.
But Pittsburgh, man, I loved going up there, And you did mention the crick, but we had we grew up in an idyllic neighborhood. It was up on a hill, in Quaker Valley in a town called Sewickley, right across the river from Coriopolis, where Michael Keaton's from. And we
Very
could
cool.
go and we had acres and acres of woods to play in, a creek way down in the ravine where you could catch salamanders and crawfish, and the whole, a bunch of our friends would go down there. We'd be out there all day, not see anyone else out there. So every once
Right.
in a while you'd run across a raccoon or a deer or whatever, or some box turtles, and it was just great fun to just be able to have that situation, and be able to ride your bikes around without much traffic at all, and everyone knows everyone else. Like my mom had her gingerbread making group and her evening wine group, and we'd all we'd go from house to house during the holidays, and one person would have like hors d'oeuvres, the one person would do the dinner, and it was great. And most of those
Yeah.
folks that I grew up with are still friends of mine today, and yeah, wouldn't trade it for the world. But it was awesome. Pittsburgh was great, and the city's amazing. If you've never been to Pittsburgh before, you got to go. There's some
Oh,
legendary places you need to go. I mean, go to Mount Washington, ride the incline, Station Square. It's an old, converted train station where they now have a huge restaurant and an oyster bar. They get a great buffet on Sundays overlooking the Monongahela River, where the river boats, there's some like paddle wheel boats you can take out for tours and dinner cruises. Then you got PNC Park if you're a baseball fan. The
go
Warhol
Pirates.
Museum, like I mentioned. Pirates. I mean, Pirates. It's whoever else is playing there because they haven't had a good team since Roberto Clemente left. You know, it's just Pittsburgh is a legendary team, and some legendary players have come out of there for sure.
Right. Well, one of the good friends of the show, the Dutch Oven, he did a year in Pittsburgh. So, but
Oh
he
yeah.
played in two World Series for a little team called Texas. So,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Rangers or
cool.
Astros?
Ranger. Yeah.
Rangers.
Texas Rangers. Yeah. So,
Texas.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he's been on the show 3 times. He's a great guy, great person. And he loved his, he's got great stories about everywhere he played, but he did his bulk of his career there. And,
Yeah.
but then, but he did, Chicago. He did, I think he might have done San Francisco at one point. So, he played some other places, but, anybody, I remember us talking about Pittsburgh, and he enjoyed his time there. I'm still, I become like I used to have only, I was a DC fan, Redskins, and no baseball team. I was kind of sour on that, became a Nats fan,
How long were
you
you in
know,
DC, Kelly?
just 55 years or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And
So
that's why you
I
were
did
talking
time
about
and
the CAI show in DC. I actually was there this year, and you're right. It's almost bigger than national. It
it's,
was huge. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is incredible.
yeah, it's,
They do a great
I
job.
think everybody from 90% of the country that is involved in our industry should have to go to their CI Expo. They do such a phenomenal job. I mean, I just took it for granted when I was there. I loved it, and we participated every year, and we were very active with the association.
Mm.
But I just assumed everybody had such a great association, and then it's challenging. We're in different times, but I think they are the blueprint of how to run a successful CAI, and today they're just as great as they've always been.
Yeah, they have a great executive leadership team. Their board is good. Met some of those folks when I was there, and some of them were at national as well. and the national organization is fantastic too. You know, this year in Vegas was incredible. Sorry you
Right.
missed it this year, but it was, yeah, we had met a lot of great people. You know, we have some new team members that were able to come out that we met, you know, that are going to do real good. We enhanced our sales team, added some, you know, acquisition folks, and you know, they were able to get, you know, kind of suck up some knowledge from the old guard, you know what I'm saying, which is
Right.
nice. You want
The
to help
original
them.
guard is this guy named Link. And
Link.
I remember
Oh yes, I met him in Dallas or whatever it was in last
what an
year.
amazing human being. I would love to see him again. He was every he'd come, he was always at the expo. So I'd always, we'd usually grab lunch at the expo, which had good food. And we did that, and I'd see him at a few events throughout the year. And the guy's just a legend. I mean, and I think some people took him for granted. I'm like, dude, he's the guy that thought of this, and now look at it. And I guess iconic, and to be able to, to know him and everything is just, and I'm glad you got to meet him. But
Yeah,
there's so many
and
amazing people.
it's a testament to the group to say that a retired guy that has really nothing to do with the industry anymore still wants to come back and see and get that flavor. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
get back into it, see what's going on, meet and greet new people, obviously, you know, and still having a good time, even though he's not, you know, involved. He might, you know, offer advice here and there, but you know, gave the
Huh.
reins over to some, you know, the newer folks. It's great to see that people will just come back. I've met a lot of people that are just totally retired, you know, and just they come out just to keep their CE credits up, but they're really there just for the to re-energize, I think, which is great.
What's fun in Florida, I will have them out. Sometimes I'll do the sign-up table when James is teaching a class. And when they tell me their membership number, and I'm like, oh my, or their CAM number, license number, I'm like, oh my God, that is freaking incredible, and,
Right. If you get like the double digits or what the heck, no, it's like what, the 10,000?
Oh, I've had ones that are like, 3,000, 2,000. Oh my God. It's really cool. So I mean, I guess because I think we're, I want to be, I could be wrong, but I think we're somewhere in the 70s now, I think maybe. So, anyway, yeah,
We've got some great chapters here in Florida too. You know, I mean, everyone, it's great to have the chapter, the organizations locally, and then see them in other locations too, because we all kind of float around to the different chapters, either at least South Florida or the West Coast of Florida, and it's just nice to see that, the kind of, their goal or their kind of vibe is always similar in each chapter.
right. It's like a military veteran, no matter where you served, you've all been in the trenches in the condo world, in the HOA world.
Right.
If you experience all the same problems, and then every once in a while you meet somebody that can actually has a solution and how to handle things. And that's where CAI really can be an asset. Up in DC, we had a lot of great law firms that were very involved with the association, and of course they were doing it, in some way to advertise their business, but also just their passion for the industry. And my God, we had some great people up there that were very involved. So, but
right, it's just, and now you've got a whole, and excuse the term, but a Rolodex to go to ask advice. Hey, who do I talk to about this, or where can I get this answered, or who can help me or help this association accomplish this? Whether it would be, e-voting mediation, or engineering consulting, painting, paving, and me and you, we know all those people. Someone wants to know, call us. We'll hook you up.
right.
But that's the beauty of CAI. You'll hear people that say, oh, well, it's a vendor event. It's supposed to be a lot of board members and managers. Well, you know what? Those vendors were 25% of my business because they said BuildingLink in a meeting, or they told someone else about Rick, give him a call. Or, someone told them about Kelly, give him a call. But because those vendors know you and know us, they say our company name or our name, and suddenly you'll get a call. And if it wasn't for, Lisa Elkin, Kathy Naughton,
Right.
Vishnu, when I first started, my first, networking event was in Miami at this place called Will Call downtown. And it was
Right.
Vishnu and Kathy and a few others. And it was just, they welcomed me into the crew. I tested it out a little bit, even went to the first vendor, appreciation dinner at the Diplomat. And
Right.
I said, I got to be part of this, and learn by listening and trying to understand what the market is, what they're looking for, and how it's evolving. So that was the best, the networking there on both sides, whether it's
Right.
managers, board members, that's your bread and butter. Those are the decision makers, but there's still that conduit that you should, align yourself with and get to know. Otherwise, you're
100%.
you're missing the boat. You're missing the boat.
And you got to come from a place. I'm of the opinion that you should come from a place of if I do something for somebody, I don't care if they never do something for me again. I'm not in for tit for tat. I will
No.
keep helping people, and guess what? We're flush with business. I'm not looking to do anything for any other reason except for I just think it's the right thing to do. And help new people, help people who've been around for a long time. If someone needs something, I'll stop and do it. And I expect nothing in. I really don't want anything in return. You know what I mean? It almost kind of ruins my vibe. If someone goes, well, now I feel like I owe you.
You're
owe me
a
nothing.
giver. You're a giver.
Well,
You'd rather have someone open your present than you opening a present for yourself.
I don't like people go. I get accused of all kinds of things. If I'm being, you got to be the center of attention, to you don't like the light on you. I'm like, I don't celebrate my birthday, but I love celebrating other people's birthday because I don't want to be the center of attention for things. But there are things that I do that make me, and you can't MC an event and not be somewhat the center of attention. But even with our show, Wayne and I want to make sure that the guests are important on the show. It's it's not about us, and we've been fortunate with unbelievable amount of wonderful people, and we're about to take it to the next step. And people will see in future months on what you're going to bring. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
We're excited about it.
We're this close to 100 episodes.
Yeah.
That's going to be that next jump,
Yeah. And we keep getting,
worldwide.
You should see some of the guests that we have lined up. I mean, it just blows my mind. The people that are attracted.
You're scraping the bottom of the barrel, man. What do you call me for?
Well, sometimes you got to bounce all the way to the bottom to get that springboard up. Yeah, give me a break. Here's how bad it is. We're over time, and we have and we barely got through anything. And that's the only thing I don't like about the show.
I have like a script of like 7 pages here that I had to go through. I only got through 1.5.
Oh my God!
I have a teleprompter here.
So we're going to do some exciting things. We're going to turn the technical side over to you. So hopefully in the coming months, people are going to see stuff happening that's going to be make us a little bit more, solid. I don't know what do you want to call it, but one thing that's not changing is we're always going to be sponsored by Callaway Water. So some people think we have sponsors. So I always like to clarify that BuildingLink, LG, nobody's a sponsor. Nobody pays us a dime for this. I paid for a couple subscriptions out of my own pocket. It might be out of LG's pocket, I'm not sure. But I sometimes when I have unique guests, we had a girl that was in the movie The Color Purple. And I wanted to make sure she understood that we're not being compensated in any way, shape, or form. The list of sponsors that we advertise, they're not real. They're just whatever I feel like throwing up there on the screen at the
that's the props right there. That's props.
They're just it was just a funny idea at the very beginning. And then people go, well, how much money are you guys making off that show? And I'm like, so I'll just make something. I go, well, we have 20 sponsors. We charge them $500 a week. And I'm like, and they're like, really? I'm like, no.
We'll send you the price sheet.
Yeah, really. But well, thanks for spending a little time with us. And we're excited to see what's going to happen in the future. And so we got 3 more episodes before 100. Crazy. So
It's exciting.
everybody have a wonderful day. We're looking forward to seeing a few dry days here in South Florida, but we're not there yet, are we?
Gonna be a while. We'll wait till August.
That's right. Okay, brother. Be safe.
All
Take
right.
care.
Great. Take care.